Well, if you're looking for a rewarding career in public service with great benefits, the City of Rochester Emergency Communications Department is hiring ambitious and dedicated individuals as 911 dispatchers and telecommunicators. The entrance exam takes place in February, but now is the time to prepare for the application process. Joining us today to tell us more is Stephen Cusenz, Deputy Director of the Emergency Communications Department, and Abigail Hayes, 911 dispatcher and also a member of the Public Awareness Team at ECD. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
So what's the hiring process for 911 and what are the qualifications?
Well, minimum qualifications are a high school diploma and some interest in public service or public safety. If you've got time as a person that's been answering or telephone calls for a business, or you have customer service experience in the retail market, you would qualify for a position at 911. The first part of the process is filling out the job application, and then of course as a civil service position there's a test involved, and that takes place in February as our next exam process.
Okay. Abigail, how long have you been with 911 and what made you want to start a career at 911?
I've been with 911 15 years now.
Okay.
I knew then I wanted to do something public safety, helping people out and things. Actually, a police officer friend of mine was the one that suggested taking the test. I didn't even know that there was a 911 center or people that took calls, so that was interesting to find out, and it was perfect for me.
Right. What is the test process like exactly?
Well, there's a listening and keying portion of the exam wherein you're listening to a call, a manufactured call through a headset, and you're typing information into a computer system. You're going to be following instructions on who to assign for the call for service using appropriate materials that are provided by the proctors. We really don't have a lot of information on the exam process, so that we are not in a position to share information about it that could taint the exam, but it's a process that's given at the 911 center. There is another portion where we test folks for their aptitude in the 911 setting. Very simple process. The total of the testing takes about an hour and a half. Okay. And it's done right at our facility.
Okay. So how about background and psychological exams? Is that part of the application process as well?
It is. The job at the 911 center can be a little bit taxing, and we want to make certain that we're hiring the right people for the positions. The background check is essential because of the information that we have access to. We have to make certain that the folks that we're hiring are have a clean background and don't have any felony convictions. Right. The psych part is to make certain that we're getting somebody that's going to be a good fit and be able to handle the stress of the job, because it does come with some stresses, of course.
Abigail, what type of person would be a good fit for a 911 dispatcher?
What they say is the A-type personality. Someone that is a leader, definitely, fast learner, definitely teamwork, because we do work together a lot. So you definitely have to be also a people person, because you are taking phone calls, you're talking to people sometimes at their worst. So you definitely have to have those skills.
And what kind of training is involved once somebody does get hired?
Well, all of the training is done in-house. Everyone that walks in the door, whether they be a telecommunicator or a dispatcher, begins their process with learning the 911 telephone piece of the job first. They'll spend 5 weeks in the classroom with a certified instructor, time on the operations floor with a coach that's going to teach them the job of answering 911 calls and processing them appropriately. If you're a dispatcher, you're going to go back into the classroom after that 5 weeks, and you're going to learn the police dispatch or the fire dispatch aspect of your job, and that's another 5 weeks in the classroom, and then back on the floor with a floor coach where you're going to learn all the aspects of that job. Abby mentioned she's been there for 15 years. Excellent dispatcher, strong dispatcher, and is a trainer of new employees, and she's able to pass along her knowledge to the folks that come in the door, and that's how we get people strong. We use folks that have been there for a while, that know the job, and they're able to not only handle the job for themselves, but also pass their knowledge on to someone else.
Excellent. What is your advice, Abby, when a new hire is coming on, they're nervous? What do you tell them?
The job really, you get better at it with time. So I always tell them not to get frustrated easily. It does seem difficult at times, and sometimes I've seen people just want to give up, but I always suggest stick it out. It gets better. It definitely does.
I couldn't agree more.
And does training happen, not only with the new hires, but, a year in? Is there additional training that's needed as technology changes?
Absolutely. Our job is ever changing, and we are always providing training to our staff. We are really a cutting-edge 911 center with some of the finest equipment and absolutely some of the finest people in the industry. I couldn't be more proud of the folks that work at 321 West Main Street. A big part of our job is to make certain that our folks have all the tools that they need to be successful in their job. So yes, there is always training taking place. Every month we are doing something.
Right.
And our folks are stronger because of it.
Okay. What are some of the major technology upgrades that you've seen in your time there?
Well, I started 33 and a half years ago with a pen and a paper job card. We've moved through a couple different computer systems. We have moved through a couple different phone systems. Right now we're in search of a new computer-aided dispatch system that we hope to have in the building within the next 18 to 24 months. We've upgraded our 911 phone system, and we're going to be doing that again in December. So we are constantly looking at ways to better the service that we can provide, make the job not necessarily easier, but more efficient for the call takers and the dispatchers, because the job is really never going to be easy.
Right.
But we need to give them the tools to be successful.
And how about pay and benefits? Great benefits.
Great benefits. Abby is a wife and a mother, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about that.
Well, definitely the health benefits is a big plus. We have some of the best health benefits, dental benefits, and even just the college reimbursement that you probably talk about later.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, tell us about that.
The city offers $3,000 each fiscal year towards candidates that are more than a year on the job, so after your probationary period, to further your education. Some folks come in the door, they have an associate's degree, and the city will help you achieve your bachelor's degree or your master's degree. Those that are hired as dispatchers in our office are already on their way to an associate's degree through MCC, through the hard work of our training supervisor. So you could come in the door with a high school education, and just after your dispatch training, you're only a few classes away from having an associate's degree in communications. So the city offers a great deal of benefits to work in our facility.
Okay. Abby, what do you find most rewarding about your job?
As I said earlier, definitely the helping people. It's stressful at times. But I think one of the most rewarding things is probably when you have new parents and you get to hear the baby cry for the first time. That just makes like everything else just better.
So talking someone through like a home delivery? Wow.
Yeah, those are definitely some of the best moments. It makes all the other stressful stuff better.
Stephen, what do you tell people, when you're trying to convince them, or people that are interested in this kind of career but maybe they're not sure?
Abby's very humble about the work that she does. In her 15 years, I would venture to say she has helped countless people with either the childbirth or the CPR on the telephone. I tell folks that are interested in a job at 911, or even if they're scratching their head and wondering if it's the job for them, every single day somebody makes a difference in our building. When someone dials 911 and their house is on fire and they're trapped inside, our folks keep them on the phone and direct the firefighters to what room they're in. Folks that call up and say that their husband or their wife isn't breathing, our folks give them CPR instructions, and they help until the first responders actually get there. Really, we are the first responders.
First responders,
Absolutely.
Right?
Every minute of every day, somebody's making a difference in our building.
What are some of the ways that applicants can prepare for the exam?
Do you have anything to offer?
I think we had touched base on it earlier, was like you said, typing, watching TV, typing what you're listening to the radio, and typing. Typing is definitely a big, one of the big things that we use at 911. Typing and listening, typing what you hear. As long as you can do that, that's one of the, go do well there.
The words per minute is less important coming into a job at 911 than it is accuracy and being able to recall. In your training, you're going to be taught abbreviations and methods to enter things into the computer system. Being able to type and listen at the same time, or type and talk at the same time, is essential. So as Abby mentioned, if you've got a computer at home, and most people do now, use your keyboard as you're listening to something on the television or something on the radio, and type as you're hearing people speak to you. That's going to help you prepare for the exam process.
Okay. What are some of the frequently asked questions that prospective candidates ask of you guys?
Well, I'll tell you, we have a great work schedule. Abby mentioned earlier that there can be some stresses with the job. We work a 4-day on, 2-day off work schedule on the operations floor. We are a 24/7 operation, so you have to wrap your head around the fact that you're going to work nights, weekends, and holidays, but you're paid for those working holidays. You're paid for overtime, and that can certainly enhance your paycheck. You've really got to come to terms with you're going to be speaking to people who at that moment are at their worst, but you are their lifeline, and you could turn that person around in just a few words. In the years that I've been there, I know that somebody makes a difference, and without us, I don't know how police, fire, and EMS would get to your house in a timely fashion.
How can people find out more about a career at 911?
We have a website and we have a Facebook page. The website, go to cityofrochester.gov, and you can look at the Join 911 link.
Okay.
That'll take you to a position on the website where you can read up a little bit about 911, apply for the position online. You'll look at the 911 dispatcher and 911 telecommunicator job posting. It'll give you significant information about the testing and also about the requirements of the job. We'll gladly answer any questions. If you want to dial 528-2200, the secretarial staff there will put you in contact with somebody that will be more than happy to answer questions for you.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on today. Again, if you'd like more information about careers at the Emergency Communications Department, that website is cityofrochester.gov/join911, and the phone number again is 585-528-2200.